Real estate we're talking about. Mario is here. I wanted to get your opinion on a couple more stories, Mario. This, I think, is interesting. UAE tenant credit checks via UAE Pass. There is a new screening system to allow private landlords to request a tenant's credit score via the Etihad Credit Bureau. But this is the great thing about this, because immediately you think, oh, freedom of information, and you worry. But you have to get explicit approval from the tenant, and that goes through UAE Pass, so you know that that's a secure.
Yeah, because you've got to give your number, haven't you?
Exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. When I read this story, I thought that now this is a good story in my opinion, because again, it's another step forward in trying to sort of get away from how we do or did renting, let's put it that way, with the checks and having to pay one check, et cetera, et cetera. Most people want to pay their rent in 12 checks, obviously. If they're lucky enough to have a good job, they get paid monthly. They don't get paid every 6 months or a year, up front. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it be great?
And so to try and standardise that, this is good, because for those tenants who are good, who pay on time, who look after properties, and effectively this is a financial one, because if it's coming through the Emirates system, then it is just financial. But I think, why not? If you've got nothing to hide, absolutely. Hit me with the UAE Pass. I'll give you the number. I've got nothing to hide. So
I really thought you were going to say, hit me with your rhythm stick. I was sort of hopeful.
People won't know what you're talking about.
What a song that is. Here's how the system works. Landlords submit a digital request for a tenant's credit score through the ECB platform, Emirates Credit Bureau, right? Etihad Credit Bureau, sorry. Tenants receive an official notification through their UAE Pass on their phone. So you can either approve that or decline the request, depending on,
The only question I had on that is, I assume that the landlord or the real estate company will give you a heads up that, by the way, the landlord does want to do this, because other than if you're doing any sort of PRO work where they ask you for your number, I mean, if you don't know anyone's attempting to do it, you'd be a bit shocked all of a sudden you get this thing coming in. Of course, you're going to decline it because you don't know. So I would imagine that it would inform you so that you're ready. And at that point, you could probably say, or maybe you say nothing, I don't know, but you would say, well, no, I'm not happy about it, kind of thing.
Well, I suppose so. But I mean, I guess the hope is that this becomes a standard, becomes standard operating procedure. And, in the hope, as you've put forward so many times, that you have a relationship with your landlord, which is cordial, and that's 100%. Effective, isn't it?
So another question. Obviously, if you have a credit card, and you pay off either your minimum amount or the whole amount from the point of view of what you spend on that month, will add to your credit score. I assume then that also paying your DEWA bill on time will give you positive credit. AC provider, same. Etisalat do, I assume, same. Because that's the only way that you can, in some respects, get yourself in pole position or in better position, as it were. Have I read that right? Because if it is just, paying your rent, I mean, I don't know how much information is out there. I mean, how would we know what our credit score is?
You can just go onto Etihad Credit Bureau and pay. I think it's 89 dirhams. I'm pretty sure it's 89 dirhams, and you can pay and you can get your full credit history for however long you've been here, the loans you've had,
so 1 second. If I have to pay nearly 90 dirhams to find out what my credit score is,
that's your full credit history score, yeah.
Okay, well, give me half price then, or whatever. Just tell me the number. is that what a landlord would have to do? Or is he getting that information for free through the UAE pass that I've now allowed you in? Because that doesn't seem fair to me.
No, your full credit score is your 89 dirhams. You can have a credit check, and I think the credit check is free.
But that's the bit I'm trying to allude to. Not,
you
not
can get
the full amount. No,
right,
that's
okay.
Sometimes you don't need to have too much information. Do I have a positive credit? I don't know how it's rated. Do I have a positive credit score, average or negative or whatever, or neutral or negative? And I think most people should really know where they're at, because sometimes there's something that's happened in the past that you don't even know about.
It's true,
and that will give
absolutely.
So there I am saying I've got nothing to hide. Let's say, bring it on, amazing, great. Because if it helps me convince that landlord that I'm good for the rent, therefore I might have a stronger chance to actually get him or her to agree to, let's say, a 12-check contract. Let's say.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, the idea is to offer that little bit more transparency, that little bit more insight into whether a tenant is going to be a reliable payer.
Yeah, but before all of that, I think if then it is free to just check whether I'm good, bad, or indifferent, then before anybody should say go ahead, I think they should double check. And as you say, if it's free, then amazing.
There you go. That's the new system. And as we've said as well, hopefully this becomes standard operating procedure. That's the point. And that's when it really starts to score.
Correct. And this would be a way of, dare I say, convincing the landlord that you are, a good tenant, etc. And that generally speaking, in the main, you pay your rent on time, etc., and everything's fine. Listen, problems always arise somewhere along the line. And I'm wondering if then this does become the norm, that the companies that do this sort of 12 check, where they pay the landlord one check, but the tenant pays in 12 checks with a fee, which again we've spoken about on the show here.
Yeah.
How that's going to impact, because if this works and everything's okay, whether if you're a good tenant, you get your 12 checks. If not, well, you don't anyway. How much business perhaps would be taken away from those kind of platforms? Because why use them if you're if you're a good egg, as it were, and you can prove that you can pay? I don't have to pay that extra 4%.
Yeah, that's a fair point, I think. I mean, the thing is this, right? A strong credit score could mean improved approval chances, rental approval chances. But a weak score may influence decisions, particularly in more competitive areas as well.
No, definitely.
So,
and the other thing as well, I don't know whether the listeners are able to or knew about this, but you can also get both a landlord and a tenant's report, if you like, from the rent committee. But only now, the ironic thing is only if you've had a case either against you or you've taken a case to the rent committee, because then they obviously have data on you.
Right.
So that also can be a little bit controversial, because if you've taken a landlord to court for legitimate reasons, and a landlord then looks you up at the RDC and sees that you filed a case, he might think you're a troublemaker. So that could also work against you. So even though I don't know how much detail they give, but I would imagine it's quite rudimentary. I don't think they give too much details, other than a case was filed, or a case was won, a case was lost, or whatever.
Sure.
And of course, landlords can do it for tenants, but tenants can do it for landlords to see if the landlord's going to be responsive when you try and get hold of him, or been reasonable, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a good two-way street, but I think it's going to be filled with very negative people.
Quite possibly. But I mean, by the same token, it could be that a landlord would think, oh, he's a troublemaker. There's been a case in the past, but a landlord also may ask, what was that situation? And it may, I mean, it's...
Humans lie, don't they? Come on, let's be honest about it. Humans
are lovely.
It was, Well, you need to come and work in real estate, I tell you.
I do.
That can be a topic for another session all on its own, you know. What I always say to my agents, funny enough, when especially when they're first coming into real estate, I say, you know, don't take everything to heart, because not if, but when a human being lets you down, and they will, you know, not calling you back, saying they're going to buy something they don't, or buying something that's totally different from what they told you they were going to buy, or all sorts and everything and above. You know, my heart bleeds and all the rest of it, I'm sure listeners are saying. But the world of the estate agent is filled with roller coaster ups and downs of emotions, especially obviously when they're not on a salary and they think they're about to, you know, have a payday, as it were, and then it's just taken away from them at the last minute.
It's a difficult one. I didn't realise you were such a cynical soul, but fair enough.
Well, I've been here
through
18 years, you know, so real estate in Dubai is, it's an eye-opener.
Still not a day off?
No. Are you talking about sickness?
Yeah,
no, absolutely not.
Never? No, just
never.
Rain, shine.
I'm either an idiot from the point of view that, you know, I've not felt up to it, but I've always gone in.
Your words, not mine.
My words, no, definitely. I think I am an idiot, because sometimes I hear these people, you know, off sick. You know, when you add in all the Islamic holidays and everything, and their annual holiday, I mean, it's a wonder they do any work. I'm not talking about real estate agents now necessarily, but just people that I know. It's a weird one. Never taken a day off sick since I have started work.
It's a remarkable record. I still can't get over that. I think you
Well, look,
probably
have I ever
Guinness
let
Book
you
of
down
Records.
here? Always on time, you know?
No. I mean,
and I know that's only once a week, but
no, you're reliable. I call you reliable, Mario. I don't, but I should.
that can be one of your other opening lines.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's probably going to happen next week. Here's another story I wanted to talk to you about. It's just a very brief thing, but this is more products on the market, more ways of buying. I think is a good thing. Dubai Holding Real Estate, Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank launching Sharia-compliant home financing. This is for Nakheel, Maras, and Dubai Properties.
Yeah.
But another partnership, so more, you know, a wider range of options.
Yeah, we talked about this last week. This was for me, this was a big headline that it was Emirates MBD and ADIB, if I remember rightly, had announced that they were giving finance at the point of the decision for off-plan, which meant that people can really relax and know that in 2 or 3 years' time, when the property is handed over, or 4 years, however long it is, that they've locked in everything and they just go ahead and do it. So although the pre-approval some last 12 months, some last 24 months, they obviously can be extended, and you would need to do that. At the end, on handover, effectively, once you've paid, I believe, you know, sort of 50% of the project, you're effectively paying 50% over a mortgage term, which could be 10 years, 15 years, 25 years, whatever it is that you decide. So it's really just that first chunk that then is on pretty much the build anyway, because the last 50% is paid on handover. So for 2, 3, or 4 years, all you're doing is actually paying 50%, and then the rest the bank is taking care, and then you just pay much less. This just means it's another bank that's saying they're going to do it. Interestingly, it's Sharia compliant, and it's bringing in the other, or arguably the biggest developer. I mean, Dubai Holdings they're the big daddies. They're bigger than Emaar, and in fact took a share, I think a 27% share, if I remember rightly, in Emaar. So that again, they're consolidating and ensuring that all the major developers are under one umbrella, and from a compliance point of view, I suppose, making sure that they're all singing from the same song sheet, as it were.
Yeah, that's right. So this is Murabaha-based home finance, which in very simple terms is the bank buys the house and sells it back to you with an agreed profit rate over the course of the loan. And then when everything's paid, there you go. You get your certificate to say that it's done, and it becomes yours. In very simple terms, that's kind of how it works.
But it's good that they're opening it up, and I see more banks doing it.
Exactly.
Actually, one bank that isn't mentioned in last week or this week is actually CBD. commercial bank in Dubai, and they do it as well. So I think if you ask the right people at the bank, you'll probably get an approval, especially if you're a strong candidate. And of course, the developer is one of the ones that we mentioned before and last week. So for me, this is good. It's just another improvement, making it more available to the general public, and in this case, obviously, Sharia compliant and Islamic finance.
One more thing, just before we go, we've got a few minutes left, but His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum has just issued a new decree. Now, this is to strengthen DLD governments, Dubai Land Department governance. Just worth mentioning, because what it does is it updates rules for how the department is structured, how decisions are made, how real estate activities are regulated across the emirate. So kind of, to me, this is a reinforcement of the role of the DLD, which is an important role. It's the central authority overseeing all the real estate registration, regulation, all the governance in Dubai. So it's another sign, I think.
To me, it's two words. It's efficiency and transparency.
Yeah.
And again, it's the government, in this case of Dubai, making sure that improvements are made, improvements are updated, because sometimes things get a bit stayed, sometimes maybe they go slightly wrong. This is just another way of His Highness actually coming in and ensuring what is, for sure, at least one of the pillars of the Dubai economy and the UAE, well, in this case, the Dubai economy, is real estate. And what makes me laugh, actually, or chuckle to myself, because he'll never catch me out, not that he ever would come to visit me, but is that he does turn up to these government offices, sometimes unannounced. And I remember he did it at the Land Department a few years ago. And the Land Department, they start early. They're sort of 7:30, something like this. I don't recall exactly whether it was 7 or 7:30, but he turns up on time or 5 minutes before and sort of waits. And anybody that came through the door after the allotted time, he fired them on the spot. I assume people might have had some excuses, perhaps, but I don't know. It was just, again, that message that, you work for Dubai Incorporated, there are standards to be made. And this is just another way of showing that those standards, if they slip a little bit, he just brings them back. And that is why this place is an amazing place, because it's so streamlined. And these other agendas, these 2033 agendas, bringing in, prop tech, as you say, to ensure that to sort of buy property it's much smoother, it's easier. You don't have to have all these pieces of paper anymore. Everything is online. Everything is done electronically, from power of attorneys to signing. You have video calls. It's just a way of improving everything. And so again, when I read this, I did have a little chuckle to myself, because it just reminded me of the time when he came in, and he was ruthless. But in a correct manner in some respects.
You've got to get better, haven't you? I mean, that's the point. Nothing. This is the thing about it. Nothing sits still.
Correct.
For too long. And
no, Dubai never sleeps at all. It literally is the city that never sleeps, and it's a government that never sleeps. And actually, I read somewhere that I don't know whether it's the federal government. I think it probably is the federal government. So it's all the Emirates together. I think it's in the top 10 in the world of governments that actually work. I don't recall who was number one, but definitely we were in the top 10. And so that in itself is worth the price of admission. The fact that from a legal point of view, from how you live your life and how the government actually do things for you. Again, I say again, why would you not want to come and live in the UAE?
That's pretty much it for today. Mario Volpi is a real estate expert. He presents the Dubai Property Podcast. He is a columnist for the national newspaper. He presents football podcasts these days.
And he's super reliable.
And he's always here on time too. which is a bonus for us. Good to talk to you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. If you're more of a podcast listener, search for Mirror Business FM on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from, and give us a follow. This is Mirror Business FM.